Welcome viewers to another edition of our leadership conversation. I'm so grateful and glad that you are joining us today. I've got a wonderful lady all the way from Canada who will be talking to us today. Her name is Fabienne Raphaël. She's a business coach. She's a podcaster. She's a speaker. And there's something I found out about her that I really want each and every one of you to tune in and listen to. She is the creator of the Dream Method, and she's going to be telling us all about it. She's going to be telling us about her own personal journey. She's going to be telling us about how her own journey took a number of twists and turns and how she is where she is now. She's going to be telling us about her passion, because I think she's quite passionate about women. She's quite passionate about race. She's quite passionate about empowering women. So we're going to be listening to all of that today. That's a lot of stuff in there. Let's stay tuned to the end of the conversation so we can unpick and unpack everything that Fabienne has come to us today with. Fabienne, you are most welcome today.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. You're most welcome. So people, I just want you, if you are viewing with us, I just want you to put thumbs up or put some message. Say hello to Fabienne in the comment section. Just leave a comment in the comment section for us below. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe. If you're not following us on Facebook or Instagram, do follow us instantly and leave lots of comments. You can also share this podcast with any one of your friends on YouTube or Facebook. Share it with them and invite them to join us as we are having this conversation. So Fabienne, I think the first thing that I really want to know about is, what is the creator of the Dream Method? He says that you're the creator of the Dream Method. What is the Dream Method about?
Yeah, right. It's intriguing, right?
Yeah.
So the Dream Method is the framework that I use when I work with my clients. So and each of these letters, well, they stand for something. So the D stands for Design Your Dream Offer. So meaning that I help my clients packaging their knowledge and creating an offer that is appealing for their potential clients. Because of course, if they don't have anything to sell, then they don't have any business. And if you have no business, it stays a hobby, right? The R is for reinforcing your sales skills. So I take them through the whole sales process, from the time that you connect with a potential client or a prospect on social media or live or on a Zoom call, until like what you have to do in order for that person to be converted as a client in your business. The E is for enhance the know, like, and trust factor. So in business, people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So I show them through their content creation, how they show up on different platforms, what are the key messages that they have to put out there in order for their people, their clients, to relate to their message and to be prone to connect with them. Because we all know that when we buy from someone, it's because we like them, we trust them, and we know that they can do something for us and help us solve that problem, right? So the A is for adding more clients with your personalized marketing strategy. And I say personalized because I see a bunch of coaches out there always teaching the same stuff and saying that it's do that thing and you're going to get success whatsoever. Yeah. I don't believe in cookie cutter strategies. I feel that everyone is unique and everyone has their own strengths. So I help my clients, pinpoint exactly like what they're strong at and really push that forward in their marketing, because someone could be great at, doing videos, and someone else could be greater at writing posts and stuff. So it just depends on what your strength is, and we're just doubling down on it. And finally, the M is for make your clients your forever fans. So most of the time when there are people beginning in business, they think about that one transaction with that client. But what about, if you're able to support them along the way, even after they've been doing your first package, for example, maybe there's an idea you can have or another program that they can subscribe to that will allow them to still be supported by you, because that's the cheapest marketing. When you have clients already, they want to do business with you again. Most of the time they're like, can I work with you more? Or do you have that other program or whatsoever? So I help my clients think ahead of the curve, so they're, the lifetime value of the client is higher. And then of course, when you do that, well, your marketing costs are lower because you don't need to invest more time and energy into marketing, especially if you've already given great service to the person or to the people that you've already served. Yeah. So that's the Dream Method.
Wow. I think that's a fantastic one. I like the last one about what else can you sell to exactly the same customer? How can I maintain the same customer? Because I remember when I went into business probably about 13, 14 years ago, I never thought that way. And so you are trying to look for lots and lots and lots of people that you can sell your products to. But then over the years, I think probably about 4 or 5 years into business, I kind of then started formulating some of the strategies that you were talking about. And then I started thinking about, okay, how can I need to find a niche. Mm-hmm. And specialize in my niche, and then find out how I can continue to service the niche fully. And that is how I have ended up working. So in as much as I have, so I remember tendering for a contract that allowed me to be with about 20 different local authorities. And I just struggled to manage it all. And now I managed to narrow it down to about 4 or 5. And for about the last 7 years, I'm just working with that 4 or 5, and I have better market, better business, better profitability than I did when I had the 20. So it's not always about the numbers. And the fact that you're saying that you personalize the service to each and every customer that you've got. So you're not training us to be like everyone. You are training us to look at our strengths. You're training people to look at what their own unique selling points are. You're training people to look at, because we are all very different. I'm sure what you would excel at, I would not necessarily excel at it. So then, yeah, that's a very great one. Now I want you to tell us about your personal journey, because I was listening to one of your podcasts and you were talking about how over the years your role has either changed or evolved. You said that you started out about wanting to go to medical school, but you didn't end up going to medical school. You ended up somewhere else. But then I want you to also tie it in with the fact that you start with one thing and that one thing does not happen does not mean that's the end of it.
Exactly.
Or does not mean you're a failure.
Yeah. So true. Yeah. So because like, since I was a kid, I wanted to become a doctor. I think it started, I was like maybe 8 or 9 years old. And I always wanted to go to med school. And then at the point where I was supposed to get there, I applied and I got refused by like 0.5 like mark. So I couldn't even go forward for the second round, which were the interviews. My second choice was physical therapy. So I entered for physical therapy. And at the same time, I was invited to join Team Canada as a team handball player. So I did both at the same time. I started at that point. And I remember that when I graduated physical therapy, well, I was raised by parents who always worked almost at the same place, wanting me to have a job and stay there for a long time. Obviously, this is not what happened with my journey. Only like not even 3 years after I graduated physical therapy and I had a steady job, I had this opportunity to just go and play in Denmark, team handball in Copenhagen. So I got this invitation and I left there. And when I came back from that trip, this is where I realized that self-growth was something. I was really open to a few challenges out there, and I had to sort it out on my own because I didn't know anyone out there when I came there. Of course, I made friends while I was there, but I mean, like when you are in a foreign country, you don't speak the language. You have to deal with immigration, because when I came in, I didn't have any visa. I had like 10 days to find out how to make that happen. I have to find a place to stay. I had to know like how everything was working out there. So when I came back, I realized that, oh my God, I had evolved and my environment here had not moved. So it's the first time that I got in touch with, okay, self-growth is something that might be happening, right? But like fast forward, I stayed in physical therapy, but then I met my business and life partner, and he was already into personal development and introducing me to going to conferences. And then one day I decided that I would be a consultant in physical therapy, but not an employee anymore. And the same organization I work in at that time, they hired me as a consultant right after they had me as an employee. So that was great. But that led me to have a healthcare agency, a home staging business, a TV show with my home staging business. And then I attended this conference about marketing, and I fell in love with the online marketing world. because it was the freedom lifestyle was so appealing to me. Everything that I was doing before, the healthcare agency, the home staging, whatever, it was always trading time for money. And, you know, if I wanted to have more income, I needed to put more time in. And then for once I was in front of an opportunity that, you know, it's not like that. You know, it's about what problem you can solve and the value and the transformation that you bring for your clients. And that's the price tag. And that's why it's not a trading time for money thing. So this is how my journey got started in online marketing. And eventually, like, of course, I had my podcast for 5 years. I broadcasted 300 episodes. It was great. But along that journey, the coaching really, like, it hit home. Like a few years after I started my podcast, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to teach others that they have what it takes to tap into that freedom lifestyle. And because of the education that they've gotten, or the, you know, what they have survived through their lives or whatever, they have something, they have a gift, and it's okay to monetize it. And it's okay to make a living out of it, because it's so fulfilling when you take what you know, or when you take your gifts or your expertise and you show and you guide other people and you see the results. For me, like, just seeing the results, having people telling me how their life is changing, how their income is growing, how they are going to leave their job. Like, this is what fulfills me. And that's why I'm motivated when I wake up every day, because this is what I was meant to be doing.
Oh, that's great. You said something. You said helping high achievers to monetize their knowledge. And I think sometimes I've spoken to a lot of people that they don't even know they've got knowledge to share.
No, but yeah, you're right.
People don't think they've got knowledge. They think that, okay, yeah, I've got knowledge to do this job, but they don't know how they can monetize that knowledge in a different way. Mm-hmm. People feel that I just have to trade my hours, trade my time to be paid in this job setting. But they don't know how to transfer the knowledge that they've got into other settings, like you said, that gives you the freedom and the flexibility that you want. Yes. Can you explain a little bit to some of our audience how you take people through that journey, and what sort of knowledge do you think that they can share, and how is that packaged?
Okay. So most of the time, like, you know, even if you're just in a normal conversation with people, they identify you with something. You know, Trudy, she's very great at this, right? Or, and that could be your zone of genius. That could be something that you studied in for many years, and that you could definitely take it out of the job that you have and just do it on your own as a consultant or as a coach. Or it could be something that you went through. For example, I have a client that she's been through a very, very hard divorce, and she wanted to help women going through hard periods in their lives, either with separation or heartache in their relationships, to find themselves again and thrive and feeling empowered. So she used her experience that she went through, because when she was processing all of that, she had gone through many steps, and she felt that she was able to help others through these same steps so they could thrive out of, you know, a bad relationship or stuff like that. Yeah. Right. Sometimes it has to do with, you know, something that you decide to study outside of your area of expertise at work, for example, a passion of yours. Like me, I had a home staging business. I went and did a training in California. I got certified, and then I came back here and I was like, I can start my home staging business. And it had nothing to do with physical therapy, but it was great for my creative side. Right. So it's about like something that you feel that you're great at, but also the most important thing, that you could solve a problem that people are already looking to solve. Right. Yeah. Because sometimes people have great ideas. They're like, oh, I'm going to change the world. I have this idea. And then that idea, well, no one cares about it. No one's looking for it. No one's spending money in it. Like no one's investing into it. And I guess you shared earlier that also finding a very clear segment of the market that you want to serve, your niche, is extremely important because it makes you the expert of that small segment instead of being a generalist able to help everyone. And that's a mistake a lot of people do when they get started in business. They're like, well, I want to change the world. I want to help everyone. Whoever asks me for business, I say yes. Yes, but then you're spreading yourself too thin. And then when you try to market yourself, how are you going to reach everyone at the same time? You know, when you focus on that one specific segment of the market and you know everything about your perfect client, well, it's easier to communicate with them. It's easier to relate to their feelings, to know what's going on in their heads, to express their pains and desires, and to show them how you could truly help them. So I don't even know if I answered your question, but I guess that's what I had to say.
No, you did. Yeah, I think you did.
Okay.
And what I like about it, the one bit that I want to take home, and I want people to take home, you talked about experience. So it's not just about the knowledge that you have. It's not about your industry specific knowledge that you have, but you said experience, and that's one thing that I think people don't really think that they can take the experiences. So people go through. You've been through a traumatic experience. It could be a good experience. It doesn't have to be your knowledge base, but then how you came that problem, and what that experience was like, what it made you feel, and are there people out there that are going through similar stuff, and what can I do? One of my speakers that I had the other day gave me a very good example. She set up a business, and I think the business is now a voluntary business. Actually, it's now 10 years old. She emigrated back from America back to Ghana, and she says that it was a struggle for her to find her way around town. Where can I get the nicest pub to go, or things like that? And so she decided, okay, come on then. There are lots of other people that are coming in that cannot navigate their way around. I'm going to set up an organization just so that it helps people to be able to navigate. You can just link in, and people can tell you where things are. And it took off, and it's been going, and it is then evolved. So again, you can take an experience, you can take a problem, you can take a challenge, and that could end up being the knowledge that you are trying to package. So another question I want to ask you is, how can I package my knowledge? I mean, I know, for example, it could be in a book. Mm-hmm. What other ways do you help your clients to package their knowledge so that they can monetize the knowledge as well, and mm-hmm. be able to fire their boss and become their own boss?
Yes, exactly. So me, it's through their coaching program that they're creating. So I help them package their one-on-one coaching program. So depending on, the journey that they want to take their clients from, let's say from this to this, then they have to choose how long their program is going to be, how many times they're going to have their sessions with their clients, but also like what's the transformation that they are, providing to their clients with the framework that they will put them through. So what I feel is very important, though, is to have a clear idea of what steps you're going to make your clients go through for them to get to the expected results. As I said earlier, I spoke about my dream method. So all my clients go through that method, but it doesn't mean that because it's the framework that everything is exactly the same for each client, because each client is different, as I said earlier. So for example, the example that you gave earlier, I mean, for sure, like that person that had this business in Ghana, then of course, like each and every single person, they have to go through the steps so they can get the results. And it will be different for everyone, but at least like their problem will be solved. So that's the most important thing. You have to make sure that what you want to provide to your people is going to get results, because or else like you're just not really helping your reputation. And there are a ton of service providers and coaches out there that promise stuff and they don't deliver. So it just leaves the relationship very bitter at the end for the client and for yourself. And then it's harder after that to get business, because now social media is just like, whenever someone posts something, it could either praise you or just crush you. So I would say the most important thing is to really have like a very clear framework on how to take that person from A to B, and then make sure that that person can get the results with what you're showing them or guiding them through.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I just think that I want to home in on this. I think that we all have something that we can package. And again, one of the things that I've been trying to look at is generating multiple income streams. And a lot of us have gained knowledge or have acquired knowledge over a long period and a significant period of time that you can package. And this is what Fabienne is talking about, to help you be able to package that knowledge into something else to help somebody else. And that could earn you another income. It could be another income stream. And also, we all have experiences, so many experiences that people may want to know about. It might help someone along the way. You can package it in a book. You can package it, either it's a training program. Again, this is something that you can package that you can also monetize. So that's another good one. You said something about self-growth, and what I picked up on, we're going to talk about self-growth, but there's something else that you also said, that when you went away and when you came back, you realized that your environment had changed. And that's the thing. People are in environments that have changed, but they refuse to change to suit the environment in which they are. People's circumstances have moved on. I mean, I remember, like you, I don't know, this is so funny. I wanted to be a doctor. My reason for wanting to be a doctor was because my dad was a doctor. So then I studied all the way and did physics, chemistry, biology. And then when it came to university, I said I was going to do either medicine or I was going to do pharmacy. And then I think one of my uncles said to me, there's a new course in this university called travel and tourism. And I thought, oh, okay, let's go read about it. When I read about it, it was everything fun that I was. So I thought, oh, come on, then I'm going to go for that one. Again, to cut a long story short, I've never done anything in travel and tourism. I've ended up being an entrepreneur for most part of my life. So talk about twist and turn. Mine never happened the way it was, just like yours. It kept going in different ways and doing different things. And I'm in health and social care or recruitment. So sometimes the environment changed. Stop trying to fit around a peg into a square peg into a round hole if it's not going to fit. The environment has changed, so you've got to change. I mean, is this the fair point? Is this, because looking at your journey, those are some of the things you had to change to suit the environment in which you were. And so would that be something that you would say to your audience or to your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't want to embrace that change, and if you don't want to step out of your comfort zone in whatever way, then change is never going to occur in your life, and you will always complain to be staying in the same situation. Because in order to evolve and aspire to a better version of yourself, well, you need to embrace that, difference, or try things that you've never tried before. Speak up somewhere when you've never spoke up before, or just like doing something that scares you. But I'm not talking about something like dangerous for your life, but I mean like something that really scares you most of the time, and then you just give it a chance and see what happens with it. Because most of the time the dialogue or the voice in your head is trying to bring you down and not doing it. But then it's always worse what's happening in your head than when you do it. When it happens, you're like, oh, that was just it. That's it. Yeah, exactly. And about the change, well, I feel that when you have people around you that can uplift you and that, support you in that change and push you to try things that are new, then these people, yes, they're worth it to keep in your environment. Because remember that the majority of people, they don't want to change. They sit in complacency and they just complain about their situation without doing anything with it. So the majority of people, if you're not surrounded by the right people, when you talk about your projects or your dreams, they'll tell you all the reasons why it couldn't work, or you shouldn't try it, or why don't you go and stay at your job? Why don't you find this and stay there? Why don't you do like everybody else? And I read this on a post from one of my friends on Facebook, and he said, you remember the game Tetris? So when you play the game Tetris and you try to fit in, like the line totally erases. So if you're a society and you try to fit in, it's as if you don't exist, because you're like in the flood of other people doing exactly the same thing. You're average. But if you want to really make a difference, you've got to stand out. You got to be unique, and you got to do stuff that the majority of people are not willing to be doing. So yes, change. If you want to be a game changer, I mean, there's no way you can do it by staying average, for sure.
Yeah. Gosh, I need you to put this comment, it's somebody that's listening to us. You've got to put this in the comment section. You said surround yourself with the right people. Find the right people and surround yourself with it. You should be wanting to stand out. Be ready to stand out, because if you want to be a part of the crowd, then you're not going to have much impact. So be ready to stand out. And I like the bit you said about comfort zone. And what I've also realized as well, and talking to people a lot of the times, our biggest monster is not usually the people around us. Our biggest monster is ourselves, is the voices in our own head. The voices in your own head can be so loud, so condemning, so judgmental, so negative, that sometimes you never do anything. And it's not because people have been nasty to you, or people have said the negative word. It's what we believe about ourselves and what we tell ourselves. So one of the things that I want you to take home today, someone, is make sure that the voices in your mind are not overwhelming you. They're not drowning you. They're not stopping you. They're not limiting you. And you should be ready to push yourself so that you can become a better person, so that you can become that purpose. You can live that purposeful life that you have been destined to live. I eavesdropped on one of your podcasts. And in this one, you were talking about purpose illusion.
Oh, yeah.
So, I couldn't help laughing. I'm not going to spoil it for the audience. Tell us about what the purpose illusion was about.
Oh, God. It's about the fact that because you studied in something, right? You're 18, 19 years old when you want to enter university and you choose that program. And it's funny because you just said you studied in traveling and then you never worked a day of your life into that, right? Because at that point, when you made that choice, this is what you were interested in doing. Maybe that's what was where your curiosity brought you. But then 3 years, 4 years later, you graduate and you're like, wait a minute, am I still at the same place? Do I still want the same things? You matured, you have life experience, you maybe had gone through challenges or not. You met different people, you had like a great conference you went to, whatsoever. So of course, with time, we evolve and we change as a person, and our priorities change too. So it really makes me laugh when people think because they've been in a career for like 15, 20 years, they have to stick with it because that's what they studied in, or that's what they invested their money in university to be doing. Yeah, but what about your happiness? What about your purpose? What about like your true voice and how it could impact other people's, right? If you keep all of that for yourself, then you're preventing yourself to change other people's lives, those people that need you. And then it's pretty selfish, right? And it's just fooling yourself thinking that you can continue to evolve in a profession that you've been doing for 20 years. Some people, they have that. It's their calling. They hit it, they start it, and they go with it for their whole lives. And it's okay. But it's also okay if you've been going at it for 5, 10 years and you realize the passion is not there anymore, or it's never been there, and that you need to do something else for your life and change the course of your life. So I call it the purpose illusion because some people really feel that they have to stick with it whatsoever, like as if like, you know, it's do or die with it. Like, no, I don't want to die like not doing that because I signed up for this contract. I was 20 years old and now I'm 50, 60 years old and I will not give up on it. Yeah. So that's the whole point.
I mean, yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, when I listen to it, that's exactly my impression as well. And life, we do things, some things are just meant to be seasonal. I'm just going to do it for this season. It doesn't mean that I suck at it. It doesn't mean that I fail at it. You said you did the podcast that you did. How many episodes did you do again?
300.
It does, and you've stopped, you've moved away from that now, have you? It doesn't mean that you sucked at it. It was for that season of your life. Whatever you did, you've been through a lot of different things, but those were for the seasons of your life. I believe that we've got skill. I mean, I've been doing this for just a little while. Somebody said to me the other day, please make sure you don't end this because we are really gaining a lot of knowledge. We love the speakers that you bring on. Am I going to be making any promises? I don't know. I don't know. We just see where life takes us and what do people want. And as you said, yes, I may have a ton of knowledge. I may have a ton of experience. Is that what people want right now? It may not be. They want something else. So I might have to bring another side of me. I might have to invest in something else because that's what is needed at this particular point in time if I want to have an impact. And so then that's it. So, and it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Let no one tell you you're a failure. But I think sometimes people is the fear of being called a failure, is the fear of upsetting other people. Because for some people, it's about what the parents expect from them. I mean, my dad was a medical doctor, but I know for so many years, my dad says that he always wanted to be a musician, but his dad would not let him be a musician. I mean, look at the two professions. But again, that's it. So some of us, we don't want to upset parents. Some of us, we don't want to upset the people around us. And some of us, we think that, oh, I've spent all that money, all that years in university or in education or doing this particular thing, so I don't want to give up on it. But that may be the very thing, or that may be the very reason that you're being held back. You're not really living life. You're not really fulfilling your purpose because you've allowed that thing to hold you back. The so-called thing that you think you're hanging on to and thinking that that's that's the thing you have to commit yourself to, is the very thing that's limiting you from becoming everything that you are meant to become.
That's so true. And I would add that, like lately I had this conversation with the mastermind group I'm in, and we're talking about, the meaning of and the essence of life. And it was about, like, one person asked, like, if today was the last day of your life, like, would you be spending it doing what you're doing right now? Like, would you be doing that, or would you do something else? And if you would be doing something else, then it means that you need to reflect on it, because life, I mean, we don't know how long our journey is here. So we might as well enjoy it to the fullest and live really, like, as you said, live it, not just in the sake of, for the sake of someone else's, because, oh, my parents said to do that, or my best friend or my partner or whoever. But what about yourself? How do you want to live your life? I think that's the most important thing. And as soon as people will do that, I think it just will have such a ripple effect on all the rest of the world. Because when you're happier, your relationships are better, you smile more, you talk to more people, like, you're more enjoyable, you're more patient, and everyone profits from that, right? Compared to if you are miserable, you're impatient, you don't talk to people, you're reserved, you sleep all the time, you're lazy, whatsoever, because you complain all the time. It's not the same energy. So the world needs so much more of people just living their purpose and being happy, doing their best life.
Yeah. And I think I just want to add on to the fact that don't feel like that experience is wasted, or don't feel that education is wasted, because it's not really wasted. You are just repackaging it and you are rebranding it. I mean, in as much as I said that I never did anything with my travel and tourism, but the knowledge and the expertise and the personal development and getting to know myself better, I think it was very relevant in where I am today. Yeah. I went on to do an MBA. I did an MBA, completed an MBA about 11 years ago. Again, did I take that classroom knowledge really to do much with it? I don't think so. But it's still very worthwhile, because it's the one thing I took out of that MBA just 6 months into getting onto that course was connections, relationships, and just getting into entrepreneurship, forming connections. And for me, I call it, that's what I paid for. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's the actual accounting or finance or studies that I actually did. It was the connection and the friendships and the networking and the eye-opening that I had. I mean, and I'm about to, I want to go on into further education to do something else. But I was talking to one of my friends and she was saying, what are you going to gain out of that? I said, I'm going to gain exposure. She goes, what, you're going to go into it for? I said, yeah, that's what I'm going into it. I said, I know what I'm going into it for. I'm going into it for further exposure. And so I'm not going to get disappointed then. So it's not necessarily, no experience is wasted whatsoever. Whatever experience you have, you can just rebrand it, you can repackage it, you can rebottle it into something else. Because again, like you explained, if you're working in a particular place or in a particular industry, and I've got all that knowledge, if I divert that same knowledge and become a business coach, I've still got the same knowledge. I've just diverted it into becoming a business coach, in becoming an online coach, in becoming a trainer or something, but something that gives me more flexibility, something that gives me more enjoyment, something that gives me probably a higher income, rather than remaining using that same expertise in one setting. So it's just about leveraging your expertise in a different way. So I want people that are listening to us today, just think about your expertise, think about the industries and the sectors that you are working in, think about all the knowledge that you've got, all the experiences that I've got. How can I repackage this and align it with my passion and my purpose? And that is exactly what Fabienne does. And that's the reason. So somebody may be saying, but why do I need a business coach? That's what business coaches do. And by the time I'm expecting that by the time you go through a program with somebody like Fabienne, it tells you how else you can live a fulfilling life, isn't it? Haven't we? There's nothing wrong with changing your mind. If you wake up one morning and say, I think I've changed my mind, there's nothing wrong with it. Should you feel guilty about it? Should you feel terrified about it? Should you feel that you're a failure? No, there's nothing wrong with it. You have made up your mind that that's what it's going to be. There's nothing wrong. You just want to experience life in a whole different way. And so you should be allowed to do that. Also listening on one of your podcasts, you were talking about bold moves along the way, because that's what your career was about. You made bold moves, things that were completely kind of different from where you were, but you made these big, bold moves. Yes. Would you tell us a little bit about it? Because I want people to be encouraged. I've got people that are 50 already. I've got friends that are 60 already, and they still haven't made the bold move. Or they talk about wanting to do something, but they're telling me, God, this is too bold a move. And people are happy with little moves, little side steps, and not happy with the bold ones. So would you tell us a little bit?
Bold moves, like it equals to big changes. And I would say like one of my biggest moves was when I moved to Denmark for 2 years. I had a steady job. And when I got the call from the coach, I had 2 weeks to tell my boss that I was leaving, to tell my parents I was traveling, to pack my stuff, find my ticket, and then I left. And thank God I had only 2 weeks, because if I had longer, I think I would have talked myself out of it, right? Because the more you take time to decide, the more that self-talk is bringing you down and telling you all the reasons why it's not going to work. So I would say that if you have this idea and it's been, in your head for years whatsoever, and you never acted on it, like that one time that you say maybe, do it, because this is where the situation is going to change, right? When I was traveling and I was in the plane to go to Denmark, I was crying. I was like, what the heck? What did I do? Why did I leave? I had a great job. I was surrounded by family members who were loving with me, like I was happy. But then, no, I felt that something was missing, that I needed to have that spark and that challenge in my life just to see how I would react to it. And I came back alive, and with more, I came back like more grown. I found like I gained self-growth a lot. I discovered a lot about myself, how I could deal with challenges by myself. I learned a lot about connections, because I made a ton of friends out there. And I would speak to strangers because sometimes I was lost and I needed to find my way. And even if, the language was a barrier, but I was able to make myself understand. And eventually I was able to speak Danish. So to me, everything that brought me, it serves in my business, because now in business, I mean, it could be anyone in front of me. I'm not scared to go talk to them. It could be a politician. It could be someone who's not known at all. It could be someone from Hollywood. I don't mind if I see them and I know that I can get in contact with them. Then I can talk to them. Right? I don't have that fear anymore, because I've practiced those skills along many things that I've done in my life that pushed me to do something about it. Or else what? Like when I was in Denmark, it's either I was staying in my corner, not speaking to anyone, or, you know, spoke out and say, well, I need help for this. Who wants to come and help me find out how this works and all that stuff? I had to speak up, or else I would have felt miserable. So even if like you're like 50, 60 years old and listening to us right now, I mean, there's no there's no time to start or reinvent yourself, or like there's no perfect timing anyways. I have friends, I have entrepreneur friends who are 75 years old, 80 years old, right?
Wow.
And one of them just started her business not a long time ago because it was a dream of hers, and because like she feels that she can make that change in her life, but also in other people's lives, right? It happens. It's too late if you tell yourself that it's too late.
Too late. Yeah. And you decide when you want to retire or when you're going to give up on all of this. Age is just a number. Age is absolutely just a number. You can do. I mean, one of my friends that I was talking to, her partner was 92. And they were about to start an online business.
Wow.
Yeah, and he passed away, I think, a few months after that. But they were asking me questions about online business, and they wanted to set up an online business. And yes, I was helping them with it, because no, you're not going to say you're 92, what you want to do in online. He was healthy, he was strong, and that's what he wants to do. So people, age is just a number. I mean, only you can place limitations on yourself. Only you can tell yourself if you're going to be able to do something or not do something. So stop, like Fabienne is just saying, stop talking yourself out of your bold moves. Stop talking yourselves out of the change that you want to see. Stop talking yourselves out of the ideas. Some of us always have tons and tons of ideas just going on in our minds, but we never bring any of them to fruition. We never take action with any of them. So if you've got ideas, don't look at your age, just go ahead and begin to do it. And again, I think in your conversation, we came back to the point that no experience is wasted, because you experienced something 20 years in your life, talking about how you had to live in another country, step out of your comfort zone again, live in another country. And that gave you the opportunity to be able to develop yourself. I mean, get in front of people. But then 20 years down the line, it's very relevant in your business today. So no experience whatsoever that we go through is wasted. You might think that is wasted, but keep it. It shows up later on in life where that's the expertise that you need. What is the power of connections? I believe that connecting with people can be very powerful. Connecting with people sometimes can bring out a side to you that you never knew that you had. Connecting with people can just lead you into purpose. As I said to you, when I went on to I was just going on to do an MBA. So I had been working for years and as a manager in an organization. And you know, when you just feel that I think there's more that I could be doing, but I didn't know what more I could be doing. I wasn't having the mindset of an entrepreneur at that time at all. And I just wanted to do a course. I just thought, I'm going to do a course. I'm going to connect with people. And when I get there, something will happen. Honestly, this is it. That was my idea when I went on to the course. I just wanted to do a range of different, because I knew the MBA was going to get me along doing different courses on their business courses that would then generate some interest in me. And as I said, within a few months, I connected with somebody on the course. And then he was just like you, because he said to me, he's not a business coach by title, but I remember doing an assignment with him. And he said to me, why have you got all this knowledge and you're working for someone? Why don't you put this knowledge together and put it in yourself and work for yourself? I said, but I don't know how. He goes, I will show you and I will work with you. And that was it. And that was the turning point in my own life and in my own career. So for me, connections is very powerful. So, but I want audience to hear it from you. What is the power of connection?
Yeah, for me, like everyone, actually, every human being wants to be appreciated, loved, you know, for what they are, for who they are. And, you know, they want to have relationships, right? And to me, like, I feel when I connect with someone I didn't know before, for example, on social media or to the grocery store or at a live event, well, it's just like me being interested into another human being. And most of the time, of course, you have something to learn from the person that you speak to, either for 30 seconds or 5 minutes or an hour or more than that. because it could lead to something else, could lead to a collaboration, friendship. It could lead to something. And sometimes it doesn't lead to anything other than, you know, a great conversation for 5-10 minutes, and sometimes not a great conversation, but who cares? I mean, I feel that, you know, I hope that we're not losing that over time, because I feel that when social media came around, a lot of people lost the touch about connecting with people. So sending you a message, but not greeting you or calling you by your name, but just like say, you know, hi, or not even hi, and just asking the question directly. I feel that there's a way to do it, you know, to feel polite, but then genuinely interested into what the other person is doing. And when people are too greedy into asking and asking and asking and always taking from others, then it's not a nice feeling. It's not a relationship. I call that abuse, really, because like, come on, how do you expect for someone to help you if you're not willing to actually ask yourself first how you can help that other person? Yeah, exactly. So to me, when I started online, I mean, I started with my podcast, and it forced me to connect with a lot of people, because I had an interview-based show, and I had to connect with a ton of people to interview them on my podcast. So it forced me to get in touch with people I didn't know, and of course, refine my craft, because I didn't do it well at first. And then I got some feedback from people. Well, you know, like that was kind of like, oh, okay. And then you're like, okay, maybe I should correct that or whatever. But I feel that the most important thing is like, don't connect with anyone if you don't genuinely care about the connection, because at a certain point, there's something wrong in the energy, and the other person will feel it. So it's like, I could just take our example. We met on LinkedIn, and, you know, the way we interacted with each other, and the way you made that invitation to come on your show, I was like, this is interesting. And I know a little bit more about your mission while you're doing that, and who are you in front of, and who are you helping? And I felt that I resonated with your mission. I was like, I want to be a part of it. And that's how we got that interview set up. But some people, you feel it right away. They're looking for something, or there's something sneaky under it. And you're like, no, I can't, because it has to go both sides. And I always say, like, if you wouldn't want people to treat you like that, like, don't treat people like that.
Great. So, I mean, connections are, I mean, what I'm taking away from what you were saying, in addition to what I already, the importance that I place on connecting with people, is the fact that connections should not just be one-sided. In as much as connections are great, also look at the other person that you're connecting with. What benefit can you give them? It has to be exclusively mutual to both of you and beneficial to both parties. And so connections can be very important. Sometimes somebody, because I think you were talking about, I think I listened to one of your shows, and you were saying about your TV production, and you said that it was because you had a conversation, you managed to strike a conversation with someone, and a connection with someone, and boom, that was it. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? Because I think that was quite...
it was actually, I met this, she was a designer and interior designer, and I was a home staging specialist. And we met, we had coffee, we had lunch, and we were talking about what we were doing, the projects we were working on. And then she said something like, she said, I always dreamed to have my own TV show. I was like, get out. Like, I always dreamed to have my TV show too. And she's like, oh, really? So let's do something together, right? And we crafted something, we met, and we had a plan. We went on a TV station, and we pitched our idea. And at the time, you know, anything that has to do with, you know, green recycling in decoration was it was getting started, but just a little bit. It was not big as it is today. So therefore, that TV station said, don't go anywhere with that idea, because I'm really interested. And that was the top producer that said that. She says, I just need to convince like everyone on the board to be okay with it. And then we'll come back to you. And, you know, it was, I think it was a few weeks later that we got the approval that they were budgeting the show. But it's just like, it started with a conversation about, her telling me that she had this dream, and me too. And we were like, okay, let's do it. Just like that, let's do it. Even if we didn't have any TV experience at the time, we didn't know how to do a TV, we didn't know any of that. We learned everything on the set, but it happened.
Again, it started with one connection, and it started
One
with one
conversation.
conversation, and it got you to where you are. So we are not islands, people. I want you to understand that we are not island. Some of us have been brought up in such a way that you always keep yourself to yourself and keep everything to yourself. But if you don't talk to other people, if you don't link up with other people, you will not be able to achieve fully, get to your maximum potential as you could fully have done that. Because again, you were limited in how far you could go. She was limited in how far she could go. And the two of you came together, struck a conversation, worked together, and this project then went bigger and better. So connections for me is quite important. We are coming to an end of the show, but there's one last question that I want you to talk about, because I think you have talked about a lot about self-investment, because I can tell you've done a lot of self-investment in yourself, and you go on to try and get your high achievers to invest in themselves. So just round off by talking about the importance of self-investment.
So coaching, I feel coaching is extremely important. And because I come from the elite athlete background, when I was playing team handball, I mean, there's no way I could have gone all my skills or to get to the level that I've gotten without any coaches to show me, to teach me and to help me out. And because I come from that culture, I've always admired and understood the importance of having people who've gone that way already before you do, because they've done it, they've done the mistakes, and they guide you through a journey that sometimes you just don't know enough, right? So I've never been scared to invest into coaching, and I invested like in many areas of my life. I've had a life coach. I've had a sports psychologist when I was playing as an elite athlete. I had a coach for writing, for a blog coach. I had a podcasting coach. Of course, many business coaches, mindset coaches, all of that. So whenever like there's an area in my life, I feel that I need to be supported. And also the fact that when you have a coach, I mean, you have no choice to evolve or to do something or to change. There's no way I can attend my next coaching call and tell my coach I haven't done anything the last month. Like, it's impossible. Like you gotta have done something, right? Because again, when we're not surrounded by the right people, or when we don't have that support, well, because the human beings were kind of like lazy in the inner part, we tend to like just relax and not do stuff and slip back a little bit instead of going forward. So when you have someone to keep you accountable, and when you're surrounded by the right community, well, of course, you have no choice to go forward and evolve. So yeah, coaching is extremely important for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Fabienne. I just want to end with this conversation, this last point that Fabienne talked about, self-development is so key. A lot of us don't understand why we should continue to invest in ourselves, why we should continue to develop ourselves. If you want to maximize your potential, I'm sure we are all talking about maximizing our potential, but one of the ways of maximizing your potential is actually investing in yourself. We don't think that we have to invest in ourselves, and it doesn't have to be a long drawn out degree. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out master's. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out PhD. It could be short courses that helps you to navigate your way, helps you to get to where you need to get to. Because what education and coaching does is it cuts half of the time. Mm-hmm. Because some of us just want to do it and we don't want to invest. If you refuse to spend a little bit of money to get you to where you need to get it, most of the time it takes you longer to get to it. So and true. As you said, people have already been where you want to go. There is someone that's always been where you are going. And so if you can hire the services of such an individual to help you along the way, that is going to be very helpful for you. So I want to encourage each and every one of you that wants to maximize your potential. I want to encourage any one of you that wants to silence the voices in your head, anyone that wants to step out of your comfort zone, anyone that wants to change career, anyone that think I'm passionate about something, I've got a ton of knowledge, I don't know how I'm going to package that, I want to package it, or I want to really kick out my boss, I want to quit working for someone and work for myself. One of the first ways to start is invest in yourself. And I think a great way to start will be to get a business coach or a life coach, and they usually help you to get to where you need to get to. I think one thing I'm going to take away from here, you said about somebody that helps, a coach or a mentor in podcast and writing. I want to go into writing, but I think the whole thought about, oh my God, this is a big thing. How am I going to start writing? Because I think that the way you talk is not necessarily what goes on paper, and that's my daunting task. But then, as you said, you can get courses or get coaches or mentors involved that can help you and teach you. So that's my tip for today. I don't know what your tip is, but before you leave, somebody put in the comment section what your tip is. We want to say a big thank you to Fabienne. Fabienne, we are so grateful that you took the time out to come and talk to us. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, share this podcast with someone. Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And next week, stay tuned. We've got another wonderful guest coming to our studio to have a conversation with us. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a wonderful week.